Channel 3 is your back-to-school authority, and for the past 6 weeks, we have been spending time with superintendents across our state as they prepare to bring students back to school. Glastonbury Public Schools welcomed the first group of students back on August 25th. And here to talk about how things are going there is Superintendent of Schools, Dr. Alan Bookman. Thanks for joining us.
Certainly, my pleasure.
So you are 2 weeks in now with the return to the 2021-2022 school year. How are things going?
They're going well. There are challenges. So, I don't want to, hide the challenges that exist. And we started the year. We had a couple of our students who could not start because they had COVID. And and we've had a few cases along the way of COVID. We've been able to follow all of the rules of the state Department of Education as far as quarantining. And it's easier as far as quarantining this year. So, they reduced the distance in the classroom from 6 feet to 3 feet. So there are very few students that we had to quarantine. So, but there are occasional cases that still pop up. And so that we have to keep a close eye on the whole time. It's interesting, the requirement from the governor that all staff members be vaccinated or go through testing. We've been working very hard on that. And we are finding that almost all of our staff members, we have about 1,200 staff members altogether, and we're finding there might be a total of 30 that are not vaccinated yet. So we have a pretty good record as far as that's concerned. So we're pleased about that. And we also are looking very carefully at the number of our students, the percentage of our students from age 12 to 18 that are vaccinated. And we're pleased with that also. Right now, we're approaching 80% of the students that are vaccinated. So that's a very good number as far as that's concerned. And it seems that every week we look carefully because we get that data. It keeps ticking up another percentage or two. So we're hoping that we can get more and more students vaccinated, knowing that if they're vaccinated, they don't have to be quarantined. So there still could be a situation where students catch COVID even if they are vaccinated, but far less likely than if they're unvaccinated. So we're doing okay as far as that's concerned. So we're pleased about that.
And are you doing any contact tracing for those cases that are reported to the school?
Oh, yes. That's a big part of we spent the whole year last year doing that, and we're right into that again. In Glastonbury, we are cohorting at the elementary level. So if we have a case of a student in the class who is test positive, we are sending the whole class home for 10 school days, including the teacher. And all of the learning is remote during those 10 days. We had a relatively good experience with remote learning last year. And we did the cohorting, and we found that the students who did learn through remote didn't lose a whole lot. So if we need to do that, we will do that to keep the students safe. The last thing we want is obviously a spread of COVID through a school, because we, kept all the students there, and then all of a sudden somebody shows up positive and they are with somebody else. And we're keeping the classes separate on the elementary schools. So there's no interaction between one class and another. They don't eat together. They don't go to recess together. They stay together the whole entire day. So we are minimizing the potential for the spread of COVID.
And I saw on your website that you have a dashboard. Could you explain what that's all about?
We think that it's important for families to know how many cases of COVID we have, how many students and staff members have to be quarantined. So we started that at the beginning of last year, and it's a very popular, we could tell how many hits we get from our community, and it's a very popular place for them to go to see how we're doing as far as the cases of COVID. But it's minimal right now, and I credit the vaccinations with that. So it's, we're pleased that it's far fewer than what we had last year. And we're continuing with the mask wearing, which is absolutely required. And overall, I mean, our students are great as far as that's concerned. So, they're all wearing their masks in school and they're doing it properly. And every once in a while, you have to remind a student to move the mask up above the nose. So that comes with the territory. It slips down sometimes, and you don't even have to talk to them. You go like this, and they know, move the mask up. So those things seem to be working well in controlling the situation as far as COVID is concerned.
And we know that transparency is so important, I should say, and it's made possible, through some of the tools and resources that you're offering the community, which is wonderful, as you said, so people can log on and see, all right, where the numbers at within my child's school community. So I think that's great.
Right.
And any new information with just, how teachers and students are feeling to be back?
I think there are two different places that they're at. First of all, the excitement to start the new school year you could feel it. I visited some of I think I went to 4 schools at their opening, and the parents, the students, they were just so excited to come back and be back in school. And so you certainly could sense that, but you could also sense a degree of anxiety. That is there too, especially on families. And I understand that. There are all kinds of situations. So it's a combination of the two things. And, excited to be back, but also anxious to make sure everything is kept safe as possible, so that their families remain safe.
All right, Dr. Alan Bookman, Superintendent of Glastonbury Public Schools, thank you so much again for joining us and giving us an update on how things are going. And we hope you have a great school year.
Thank you. Take care.